Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Sky's coverage of the Windmill tournament here in Amsterdam. My name's Tom Stiles, and I'm joined by Mr. David Price.
Afternoon, everyone. Yep, we're here watching Denmark women versus France women. This is I believe, their third round game, and a bit of an upset earlier in the day. France beat GB women in their second round game, so this is a very good French team. We've heard a little bit and spoken a little bit with the Denmark team. They're saying it's a newer team, but they're looking up for the challenge, taking on the French team here.
Yeah, so France looking like the favourites for this one. The Swiss draw format throwing France and Great Britain together in that second round, which is a little bit unexpected for both teams. France were delighted with the way they'd played and really seemed to pin it to Great Britain. Myself and Mark Palmer on the sideline watching that one. It was by no means Great Britain making all the mistakes. It was France playing some fantastic ultimate and really putting a lot of pressure on the Great Britain side. So we're down on the pitch for this one, and Denmark with Louise in the middle of the pitch, sidearm forward. And a little bit of pressure already from the French, trying to creep around there with a hand, trying to get a block. Louise again with the disc at the back, anchoring the handling line so far. And a nice reset, nice movement up the sideline of the pitch. Is going to flow into the end zone. It's going to be up in the air. There's going to be pressure underneath this. And the French managing to get, 3 or 4 touches before a disc eventually drops to the floor. The Danish 79 shirt of Freya back, not able to keep that disc alive. The pressure from the French telling, and they have the disc for the first time in the game. Flat force, flat handlers, three at the back, 4 upfield. See that same set again. And a turnover, the Danes getting a fingers to that, pushing it to the ground. 2 turnovers so far in this opening point, bit of a nervy start. Lovely little disc from the number 6 shirt of Lara Perryman for Denmark. Just a little bit of inside out, floats it onto the break side, and a jink away from the, was it 55? I think Camilla for Denmark, scoring that first point.
Yeah, it was nice to see Denmark not giving up and able to get back a short field and taking on that break straight away. Very nice option. That was Camilla Trindrup from Copenhagen Hux. A little interesting fact we've been given is that she has a PhD in meat pictures. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'd love to hear exactly what that might mean, but we'll take that as fact.
Have you been sending her your meat pictures again, Dave?
No, I would never do that to anyone. That's a bad joke. If you do want to get in contact with us, please do on Twitter. Personally, I'm at David_Price, PRYC, and I think Tom is the same, at Tom_Stiles.
No, Tom Stiles.
Oh, just Tom Stiles. Just Tom Stiles. And we're back in now.
France on the far side of the pitch. And sends a big disc raking across the sideline and back into the end zone. Number 9 catching it sweetly, Daniela Rodriguez. Colombian pickup for the French national side. And the hook down that sideline. Let's see, was it 5 or 44? Charlotte Danais. So France getting it back to 1 each very quickly in that one. See the replay there, the disc floating up and caught nicely. Loads of space between the receiver and her mark. That settled them down a little bit there. The French got possession in that first point but gave it away again. If you are joining us, wherever you're joining us, do please get in touch. There's nothing we like more than reading out your tweets. Hashtag Windmill 2016 is the way to do that. That's the Danes. They've gone for a similar setup. 3 handlers, 4 horizontal stack in front. Louise with the big disc down the sideline. It's floating. There's going to be plenty of time to go underneath this. strides it in, beautifully chased down by the number 19 shirt of Ingrid Hell. Acres of time. Beautiful disc from Louise Dring. I think that's her name. Dyring. It was a great copycat of the French, but a little bit further out from that big disc in. But pinpoint into the end zone. Denmark catching this. And this is going to be a great two European national teams facing each other here on the AstroTurf in the Sport Park in Amsterdam. Like I said earlier, Twitter's the best way to get in touch with us. We're following the hashtag Windmill 2016. Sky Magazine bringing you coverage throughout this weekend. We've got one more live game this afternoon, which is from the men's division, which will be at 6:30 Central European time, wherever that is in your part of the world. French handlers moving it sweetly across the back, but a block there from the number 11 shirt running in. Helen getting the touch to the floor, and she picks up again. The Danes moving the disc to this near side. And beautiful flow down the line, getting away from a marker, keeping the disc out in front of her. Not the greatest pass into the end zone, didn't make it into the end zone, but the disc is still alive. Just these two players involved at this point so far, and she's trying to dart around again, the number 11 shirt, having got the block and made so much of the play so far, but reset across the pitch. Beautiful work from the Danes, the 31 shirt of Maya Milek.
We were talking with the Danes before the game, and they were saying that this is a very inexperienced team in terms of the level. So they've all played together a lot, mostly on teams like Aarhus and Copenhagen Hucks, but that they aren't used to this sort of national level. And I think they're kind of lying almost, because that patience we saw there on the end zone was very good and very typical of a top end team. They took their time. I think it was quite a high stall count in that corner, but was patient enough to swing it across and get the goal in the other corner. So fair play to Denmark. They've come out very strong here, and are taking it to the French, who are looking a bit scared here on the field.
Yeah, we saw the blonde hair and 11 shirt of Hyla Trinderup, which we're pretty happy we can pronounce. She got the block and then was very involved in a couple of the passes downfield. But as David was saying, the confidence to have patience, not jam it in, but then reset, swing it across the pitch, and have knowing that there's going to be a cutter, making that cut right at the right moment and exploiting the space on the far side of the pitch. The Danes pull, the French in the blue shirts, red shorts. And we see Eline Mondiot. Eline handling in the middle, the 81 shirt, doing an awful lot of the work for the French team. We'll see her again and again and again. Nice movement from the French down that sideline, managing to make a bit of progress now, 20 yards out from their end zone. Eline again with the swing across space on this side, but the cut wasn't quite quick enough. Been well marked by the Danes into the middle of the pitch. Lots of gap between the marker. And she's run up and closed down that gap again, but there's a pick on the play. This goes back to the middle. Eline Mondiot in the 81 shirt was making a lot of big discs happen for the French team against Great Britain earlier on. I'm sure we'll see a lot of her in this game as well. She has it again, and another pick is called further downfield. This time the pass is made cleanly to number 9, Rodriguez. Rodriguez looking for options. Back to Danez. Mondiot. Nice pass forward to Saint-Jean. Well read into the end zone. Emile Bertot just bringing that disc down and both teams very evenly matched. Nice clean offense from the French there.
Yeah, a nice goal there from Emily Boutou. And as Tom mentioned, a key part of the French offense will be Aline Mondial, a very well-known player in the UK scene. She's been coming over and playing for London's SIC and was offered a place at Iceni, but they decided not to take her up on that. So she's now back here in France. Not back here in France, but back in the continent, playing with the French national team. And she will be making a lot of plays for this French national team. So keep your eyes open for her. But I think and some nice defense there from the Danes. Slowed down the offense initially with a zone and then transitioned into man about a third of the way out. The picks maybe didn't help with the flow, but the French persisted, and now they're pulling towards the Danes.
It's Denmark. Disc in the middle of the pitch, going for a big hook. It's going to get sent out high. There's going to be pressure underneath it from the French. Is she going to have enough time and space? She does. Beautifully brought down. Hella Trinderop with the 11 shirt on her back. Reaches high, takes it above the defender who was approaching fast and applying the pressure. And we saw that it was the captain there with the big disc assist. So I've lost her in the melee of the crowd. So 31 shirt on her back. Maja Milek is one of the Danish captains, or the Danish captain, with that big disc. So the Danes have this game so far 4-2, which is somewhat against the form we were expecting coming into it. A very strong performance from the team in red so far.
Yeah, I'm impressed so far. They've been very calm. Been able to keep hold of the disc. They've even got a few blocks on the French, and obviously they've got a break. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more from this Danish women's team.
Denmark with the pull. Mondial. Richon. Number 5 shirt swinging it to this side. Back to Mondial again, back to Richon. And a poachy zone affair from the Danes with an up deep. As a sort of a junk defense we're seeing, not a junk defense we're seeing. And now they're going to man. Danes picking up the nearest player. Mondial with the disc again. Beckoning players nearer to her, finding nothing, swinging it beautifully back around, and a call on the play.
Yeah, I'd say that was more of an arrowhead zone. There's some sort of mullets or middles behind the wall. Transition to man.
Disc over the top. French looking to put this one in. 5 yards out. An option's taking away, but she has to jump out of the zone to collect that one. Back to Mondial. And the Danes taking away the options as fast as they're arriving. A pick has been called again. Hard pressure from this Danish defense. Tap back in. Into the space. Is going to be brought down and, just on the line. Just inside the line. And it did look like she dragged the tape a little bit as she landed. I'm not sure if... Hard to tell from this distance, David. You had a perspective?
No, I don't think so. I think the only people that can tell there are the players and the sideline who are much closer. But they're talking about it now. Looks like it's contested, so it'll stay on the line.
So French still not quite got this disc into the end zone yet. They're trailing by 2 from the Danes. Looking for options and does find an option. Quick feet of Tiffaine Lache. She manages to get herself available in the end zone and scores that one for France. They bring it back 4-3.
Yeah, I'm still very impressed with this Danish defense. I think they're just trying to disrupt the smooth, clinical offense that the French are known for, and that you guys saw in the GB game. And they're doing a good job so far. I mean, can't really fault them for getting up a break. There's no timeout at the moment. No, it's just a half, just a point. Just thinking about numbers, to me it looks like a fairly even amount of squad players, but I think the Danes have a couple injuries. That might be coming to a factor later on in this game, so we'll see how that pans out.
I think both teams relying quite heavily on some key figures, and over the course of a week-long tournament or even a weekend-long tournament, that can wear those key players down if they're not careful. But the Danes have got the disc, managing to make quick progress up towards the brick mark. And a throwaway there. Disc beyond the receiver, and it's a turnover. The French have got the option. Approaching it carefully is Alexa Chassignon. Centres it straight away. Cuts left and right, and a pick in the middle of the stack has brought that play to a rather quick close. Alice San Marco with the disc of the yellow boots. The French stacked in the end zone. Cuts going left and right and forward and back. Another pick is called. Not sure if the stall count is moving upwards. Now Cuts arriving, and pressure from the Danes forces another mistake. Error. Another pick called. Another pick called. It was a pick. No, the pick has been declined, and the turnover has been given. Big Cut's gone out very early. Two big cuts have gone out very early, but the disc is reset into the middle of the pitch. Moving the disc down the far side of the pitch, the Danes, number 1 shirt, looking for options. French taking away the cuts, but that's a beautiful cut from the number 17 shirt, just trying to find space into the end zone ahead of her, but the rest of her teammates not making the same aggressive sort of cut that she did. Gets a reset back and dumps. This is patient from the Danes. They've got field position. Can they put the disc in? Great work from the captain there, getting free, getting a jamming disc into the end zone. It's beautifully done from the Danes. No pick calls this time. Safely scored, and they can retain their 2-point lead over the French, 5-3.
Yeah, beautifully calm there from the Danes. And France are now calling a timeout, I think. Yes, they are. So they've forced the French into a timeout. I've been really enjoying the flow that the Danes are getting. And I think a lot of these picks may have to do with both teams have a bit of separation between their handlers and their cutters, which means that they're compressing the field upfield, giving them less space to cut into, hence why there are picks. So if they can pull a few players out of the end zone or pull them towards the disc a little bit more, they'll free up some cutting lanes and some coming space for them to avoid these picks and keep the game going. But the Danes did well there. Stuck with their resets and got that lovely throwing out into the end zone.
So if you are watching Sky's coverage wherever you are, you're listening to Tom Stiles and David Price here on the sidelines in Amsterdam. Timeout at the moment between France and Denmark. Denmark with a strong start to this game. They lead 5-3. And we've got one more game for you today on Sky's live stream. We'll be following the 4th round men's game. We'll try and find the most exciting game we can for you. Because of the Swiss draw format, which they use here in Amsterdam for the Windmill tournament, we don't actually know which games are going to be available for us to pick from during that time slot. So we get to find out about an hour before the games are played which teams will be on. And as soon as we know, we'll let you know through Twitter, through Facebook, and through the Sky magazine website. But we're back on now with Denmark with the big pull down to the French. Mondial. Liana back to Mondial. And Ruffy. Back to Ruffy again. And a fumble. It goes to ground. Sonia Riviera making that receiving error. Disc was close to her, but there was no real pressure on the disc. And Louise with the big put out ahead of the receiver. Too far ahead. And Ellen Jacobson not able to cover the ground quick enough. And the French have another opportunity to advance it. .54. Gaudreau. Back to Mondio. And Riviera. Nice reset back to Mondio. Just keeping herself available. Doesn't move. You're never going to see her make a big cut, but her short acceleration is fantastic. She's going to get that yard. And great read from the Danish 18 shirt, Ellen Jacobson. Seeing the cut ahead of her, realizing the disc was going to come right past her shoulder, flicked her head around, saw it right there, and took it to the ground. Nice work from the Danish number 18. She has earned her team a turnover, another opportunity to advance, and now she's got the disc again. Beautiful pass, sidearm, low release, keeping the disc alive for Denmark. Eyes are only going in one place at the moment from Danish player. It's going to go up line the sideline. 55 has got acres of space to eat up, and she does so. Beautiful grab in the end zone, Camilla. And the big put was from Heile Trinderup. And the Danes, so far, they've got 6-3 up in this game so far, David, and they're really looking very dominant now.
Yeah, it was a fantastic bit of offense there. Stupendous looking hug, with actually quite a lot of pressure. There were 3 players around her, but she had enough space ahead of her. The disc was put out into that space. She ran onto it, read it very well. As I said earlier, I'm really enjoying the confidence that they're coming into this game, and I feel like they did lie to us a little bit. They were saying how they're very inexperienced, and yet they're showing, like, they don't look it at all. They look very confident, very calm, and taking on options that they should be. And the French just look flustered, making little mistakes that aren't coming off quite as they want to, and they're going to get frustrated before the end of this game. I can see it, but I hope they can pick themselves up a bit and give us a real good game.
You're seeing quite a lot of the Danish scores go by way of a sort of a decent-sized sort of 30-40 yard shot into the end zone. Do you think they might be a little bit one-dimensional in terms of the way they're playing?
I wouldn't want to say that now because we've only seen 9 points, but you might be right. They might be just looking for an early deep shot, but we'll see. I think give it a few more points and let the French adjust them a little bit. We've only really seen the French O-line D so far. So
the French with the disc, and a pick has been called. And team in blue struggling to connect all their passes and feeling the pressure from Denmark so far in this game. The 22 shirt of Ruffy. Backhand into the middle of the pitch. Nice flow from the French. They managed to move it, and loads of space. Collecting beautifully is Alexia Chassignot. Finding herself in acres of space, the sort of space that the French really haven't been able to generate up until now. So I don't know if they changed something there or it was just a great cut from Alexia.
I think they did change something. They went for a bit of hoe stack there. Again, a little bit too deep, but once they got that disc moving and onto the break side, they closed that space up and then allowed their players to find that break side, which is how they scored that goal. Very, very nice play out of that turn. And now we see the Danes already ready to go. So they're really pumped for it. They're up 6-4.
The sort of cat and mouse game you see at these big international teams. One of them establishing a lead, the other one closing it back up again. Not just the 1 point here, 1 point there, but a few runs might happen in this game, and that's going to lead to a really exciting battle. if France can score this one, get a turn and put it in, then they'll be back within one of the Danes. You see Louise anchoring the back of this line and moving the disc beautifully. This is such a nice flow when they get going, the Danes. Cuts a little bit slower that time, not having the same burst of energy, but they're still managing to keep the disc moving. Down this line, Louise again into space over the top of a French defender. Misread by everybody, including the receiver, the number 7 shirt. Don't have a number 7 shirt on my Danish roster. Nope. Maybe. Anyway, so the Danes looking really smooth up until the last pass into the end zone. And there's very little wind out here this afternoon. So both teams having the opportunity to really use all of their disc skills and throw some more expansive passes maybe. Nice advancing disc there. The French using that horizontal stack to open up a big gap in the middle of the pitch. Maybe it is quite deep, as David was saying, but they used the space to create a lot of yardage upfield. French have got it again. Completely blind the Danish player there to that disc coming through. Disc into the end zone is going to be read beautifully by the Danes and touched just enough. Not quite the sort of D you'd like to see from Camilla, but just enough block from the 55 shirt to bring that disc to the ground. And the French missing an opportunity to take this point back. They're trailing Denmark 6-4 at the moment. Danes advance again. Ingrid Hell with the disc and the yellow headband. Denmark in the middle of the pitch, horizontal stack once again, but with their 3 handlers. Stall count's getting a little higher. She's going to have to look for some options. She had an option earlier in that cut from Louise, but didn't take it. Managed to take her second choice. And finding the space in the middle of the pitch and advancing the disc nicely. This is beautiful stuff from the Danes. Looking for that deep shot again. Previously, that's where the deep shot's been, on that far side, backhand into the end zone. This time the French have just cut it out a little bit, stepped around a little bit. We might see it this time. No, there's no deep cut this time. The throw was on, but maybe the defenders are a bit wiser to it. This time they're going to the break side. Beautiful disc. What nice skills there. Just drops the shoulder inside out, finds the break side and puts it in beautifully. Ellen Jacobsen again, number 18 shirt with that assist. Great stuff from the Danes.
Yeah, it's very nice. And I think something that we've kind of already touched on that's helping out the Danes is that they only come from most of the team players are from 2 major teams, Aarhus and Hux. And I think it's that cohesion that they're able to bring on the field, as well as some very good cutting upfield. Actually, something I noticed in that last point is they're taking their players quite deep, which is allowing them that underspace to cut into, and they're just hitting them in the chest. There's also a lot of these nice little dishy passes where they'll go upfield and then they'll be looking sideways to just take on the player coming through. So it then gives them the open deep shot. There weren't as many cuts there for them to hit the deep shot, but they're still threatening that throw, which is important.
From a defensive point of view, what is the French need to do to break down that sort of, that they're taking the undercut from the horizontal stack and then quickly dishing it out to the handler again?
I'd say to stop something that's quite dishy like that, I'd probably go some sort of forced middle, which just means that the thrower's never quite sure where their open side is, and so then their deep shots are less obvious.
Mondiaux with the disc for France, middle of the pitch. Short pass, back to Mondiaux again. Out to Della Valle. Goes to ground, manages to keep it alive. The French within 15 yards of their end zone. Bringing it even closer, 10 yards out now, 22 shirt is Ruffy. Mondiaux break side pass, trying to drop the knee, and she's flown it into the end zone. Beautiful two-handed grab, goes to ground. It's a great grab from the French. Asked a lot of the receiver, but the receiver had no questions at all. Number 8 is Jean de la Valle for the grab for France. Means they bring it back. It's 7-5. We've got a replay of that one for you. David will talk you through that.
Yeah, you could just see Aline isolating her player, and it's a lovely grab from Dele Valle. There's some very nice patience from the French, all going through Aline. Almost every other pass comes back to her. But I think that's the kind of point that the French need to just settle their nerves a little bit and get themselves back in this game.
Well, we talked a little bit about big players and how reliant some of these teams were. Do you think the reliance of France on Aline Mondiaux is going to be a factor if some team can find a way of taking away her passes and her shortcuts?
Potentially, yeah. Particularly a world where you're against, the likes of the USA and Canada. But here, I think she's
dropping into the up deep position now in this sort of arrowhead zone that the French have thrown. She's trying to cover the options. Eyes on stalks, looking backwards as the Danish ladies in the red, swinging it across the handlers, being given plenty of space, and now they're starting to eat into that space and move the disc forward. They're up to their own brick mark so far. So French, slightly different look on the defense from the French here. And that's earned them the turnover, and I think they'd just gone to a one-on-one defence just before that turnover occurred. So shaking it up, we saw that a couple of times against Great Britain. So they've got that in the bag. Mondiaux with the disc, 5 yards out, looking for the quick score here. And a pick has been called. This would change the momentum quite considerably if they got this in. 2 quick points from the French would change the way the game is looking completely. Hesitant, 3 or 4 looks, bit of a blast in the chest. And stopping momentarily while the Danish player recovers a breath. Ingrid Hell taking one for the team. Into the eyes, a bit of a hospital pass. It could be pressure underneath that. The Danes bring it down, and quite rightly so. Not really a high stall count, low percentage option there.
Yeah, again from number 55, Camilla Trindrup, getting that D. And the French put on this zone again, which, as I kind of mentioned, is kind of a forced middle sort of arrowhead. And so something to just change up the look and make the Danes push through, which they've just about done now.
Danes making it, when they do break through, they do look very effective indeed. And they've gone to a one-on-one defence. Straight away, it's still quite poachy though, but it's definitely a one-on-one. Danes looking for options. Nice little pass ahead, little lead down the line into the end zone. No pressure. Oh, stacks of pressure, but they went up early and then got clobbered in the back by Rodriguez. But I think the disc had already sailed over her head. No call on that one. It was just a little bit beyond her. I think if she'd stayed on the ground and kept running, she could have fished that up second time. It was the pressure that paid, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think she brought her defender with her, so because she bid early, her defender had to go with her. Whereas if she'd stayed on the ground, her defender may have followed her. So it's always a kind of a mix-up between one of those going early and hopefully getting it, but your defender will have to come with you as well. So
French with the big put now, downfield. Pressure underneath that from the Germans again. The 55 shirt of Camilla. She's all over this pitch, and her defense has been outstanding so far. Yes, the French throwing that zone again. Mondiaux in the up deep position, just behind the front 3. Arrowhead, and we're expecting about 6 passes and then a turn to a one-on-one, but this time they don't even make the 6 passes. The pressure is enough to get the turn. The French strategy of changing up the defense has really worked, but a throwaway. It's a poor choice. It's too deep, beyond the fast-running receiver. Wasn't able to bring it down. Wasn't able to collect it in. Wasn't a totally bad disc to Audrichon, but it was just beyond her. You see the momentum. It's hanging in the balance. Both teams looking to grab this. It's a big point here. If the Danes can score it, they'll take the half. If the French can score it, the momentum will have really shifted back towards them. But the disc is a poor choice. Well overhit that to the number 7. I think that might be Ellen Nass. But because we don't have a 7, but we do have a 1, which looks funny. One's on the side. Okay, maybe we don't know that one then. Mondial with for France again. Rodriguez. Big pressure, but doesn't count. Back to Rodriguez. The French still with the disc. Mondial. Bounces off the chest second time round for Chassignot. Down the line to Richon. Richon looking to Rodriguez. Rodriguez options in the end zone. Jabs it in. Low disc, but caught beautifully by Lucy Ruffy. And a pick has been called on the play. Nice flow by the French down that far touchline, but the discus have to come back. Rodriguez asking a lot first time round. Now it's come back. Will she have a different option for her receiver to look at? Danes waiting. Taps in. Rodriguez for France. Back to Richon. Richon to Chassignot. And beautifully done across the front of the end zone. Right across the, handler. Dump and swing it right across. And it's Rodriguez on the far side of the pitch. Big cheer from the French. Have they steadied the ship enough? Instead of taking the half, or if the Danes had taken that point, they would have taken the half as it is. France are back within 1, 7-6. Big point, that one.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what the French needed to get themselves back in this game, get that break back. That zone really disrupted the Danes' offense this time around. But I think if they give them a few more chances with that, the Danes will probably work it out. They were getting through. It was just the last few yards of passing. They couldn't quite get it in. So that's a very back and forth point. But the French took it off them, back within 1. Let's see if the Danes can take half.
Thank you, Twitter. We've been filled in with the information we needed. Number 7 for Denmark is Mette Godiksen. Mette Godiksen. Oh, it is right. Yeah, we found it. We found it now. Thank you very much. So it's Emil who's got in touch on Twitter. If you do want to get in touch with us on Twitter, we'd love you to. Otherwise we feel a bit lonely up here, don't we? Skyd Magazine, myself, Tom Stiles and David Price. If you want to get in touch, hashtag Windmill 2016 is the place to hit us up as the Danes. And this time the French have gone back to a one-on-one defense. It's going to be exploited with acres of space and the fast cuts. Great disc there, down the pitch. Fast cuts, exposing the space that the French had left behind. Might they be made to pay quite quickly for that change of defense? Different look. And the Danes are 5 yards out. Looking into the end zone. Looking out the end zone. Reset. Bit of a barge. Brushes it off. Ellen with the disc. Into the end zone. Oh, grabs behind her. And the 31 shirt, the captain, Maya Milek, grabs for Denmark and takes the half. That's 8-6. So having seen the success that the Arrowhead defense had brought them, the French decided to go straight back to a one-on-one defense. David, confused?
A little, but at the same time I understand why. They don't want to give the Danes too much chance to settle and get used to their zone. They want to be able to pull it out later on. But a very fun and interesting half. I didn't think the Danes would come out quite like this. I thought the French would would be more inclined to be in the lead at this point, which is awesome. We always like to see what we would think is an underdog taking on the bigger nation. So I hope it continues in the second half and makes for a great game. We're going to have a quick mention to our sponsors, Secure Cyber Communications, and we'll be back after the halftime break.
Disc back in play in the second half of the round 3 match in the women's division. Watching, oh, great bid, early sight of that, and again we see the 18 shirt of the fantastic Ellen Jakobsen go horizontal, get the block for her team. The Danes have got an early turn here. This could be all important in terms of setting the standard for this second half. Jakobsen with the disc again, the pink boots on her feet. She sees darting cuts left and right, but manages to centre it into the middle of the pitch. Ingrid Hell. A nice flow through the players to Louise. Centres it. Jakobsen again. Pressure, but not enough to take it away from Hell. Hell looking for options she's got down the line. Centres it. And the Danes just taking the foot off the gas a little bit, trying to steady the ship. Not rushing this and into the end zone. Beautiful shot there from the 55 shirt of Camilla. But it hadn't been seen early enough by Louise. Her cut was slow to get to that disc. And it's a turnover, a gift back to the French.
Yeah, after that wonderful block I fully expected the Danes to walk it in, but now France given a second chance. And lucky for them, Aline Mondial on the disc.
Mondial to Rodriguez. The French moving the disc nicely now. To this near side, Rodriguez with a big shot. Not a little bit too much roll on that, but still picked out nicely. And the Danes defensive, number 79, didn't go with the runner, stayed with the handler, and a basic sort of, that's the first thing you learn in defending, isn't it? If someone's running past you, you go with the runner, leave the person with the disc because they can't score on their own. So a mistake from the Danes, allowing the French to score relatively simply in the end there, and they were within one again, 8-7.
It's 8-all.
Oh, is it 8-all? I'm reading the scores on the pitch side. Between us, we'll work out what the score is. Okay. So France have, yeah. So the French have shown what classy team they are. Not been too flustered by the pressure that the Danes have brought some pressure of their own. And they send a pull, which is quite short, actually, not really even made it to the brick mark. The Danes. Maya Milek darting around at the back there. And a disc goes to ground. Didn't grab it, the disc. Turnover to the French. Another opportunity for them to re-establish themselves in this game and get back on level pegging. Options coming under. Manages to find the tall figure of Richon. Richon back to Chassignot. Chassignot, great disc forward to Saint-Jean. Back to Chassignot again. I'm not sure who that was intended to, but it's found a French player in the end. Edge of the end zone. Players darting around with blue shirts on. Manages to get across the pitch. Beautifully done. Oh, nice work from the French. Short passes, quick discs, quick cuts. And Sonia Riviera finishing with the disc in the end zone. And they've leveled it up 8 apiece. The Danes' heads have dropped a little bit. They've lost the momentum, and the French are right back in this one.
And this is maybe where the French experience of playing at Windmill in particular and at this national level, and particularly these players on this French team who are being used to playing at that level, is shining through. They've come back now from 2 breaks down. They're back in the game now and potentially able to take the lead for the first time in this next possession.
If you've never seen anything from Windmill before and you're wondering why we can't tell you which games we're going to broadcast ahead of time, the reason is that the Windmill tournament runs a Swiss draw format, which means you have rough seedings at the start, and the first games are meant to be fairly one-sided affairs, and after that you play against teams who have got a similar points advantage to you. So we don't know from round to round who is going to be playing who, because we don't know the results of the previous round. The Danes have got the disc. Again, hell. A mistake from Meta. Turnover to the French. Mondial. The pick has been called. Everyone allowed opportunity to catch up again. Looks around, finds Rodriguez, fast-cutting, tall figure in the 9 shirt. Great cut from the French, just coming out of the end zone, Laura Dale. First time we've seen Dale involved in this game. American pickup for the French team. But there's no shortage of options coming out of that stack this time. The 44 shirt of Charlotte Danese. And the French have taken the lead. They've really established themselves in this second half. Danes haven't managed to flow like they did in the first half. See real fast cuts there from Laura Dale coming out of the end zone. Another quick cut coming out there. Resets. And one more time from standing start, just looks, fakes a player. Nice jing, drop the shoulder, off you go. Beautiful work from the French, and they are back in this game with the lead, 9-8. You're listening to Tom Stiles and David Price on the sideline here in Amsterdam, covering the Windmill tournament. 2016 edition is a massive festival of frisbee from around the world. Players coming from 40 different countries to join us here in a big city on the canal. The Danes in the red shirts, Denmark women's national side, with Ellen. Pressure, just saw the cut. The French 26 shirt there, Alice San Marco, saw what was going to happen, dipped a cut round early, got a block. The French have it again. This is real momentum shifting stuff from the team in blue. The pick is called again. We've seen a lot of picks with this team stacking in the end zone, colliding with each other on the way out. Slowed the game down. French got a second time. Chassignot moving towards this front line, right across the pitch. 3 handlers involved. Might it go back again? Yes, it might. Chassignot available on the far side of the pitch. Cutting out is another French option, but not taken. Across to the 52 shirt of Le Bon. She floats one over the top. It's going to spend a lot of the time in the air, but it's brought down safely by Laura Dale on the far side of the pitch. And the French are on a roll here. 10-8 they lead this game. The Danes had a 3-point lead, but the French are in the ascendancy right now.
Yeah, the Danes have been unable to score in this half, and I think there's just a lot of unforced errors, which is something we didn't see in the first half. Maybe their drinks have been spiked or something like that, but they're really struggling to move the disc. And I hope they can pick themselves up and start pushing the French again. It's definitely a game of swings and roundabouts going on.
Yeah, they did start this game looking so positive. They were up 6-3 at the start of the game with all the flows and all the throws. Since the French have managed to stamp their authority on this match, change the defense around a little bit. And now the French offensive line making far, far fewer mistakes themselves. The Danes are under pressure, and they let that disc fall, and that's allowed the French to arrive and set. Well, without a first disc coming out, the Danes are already in trouble. That's a nice movement to the disc, though, to Hell. Jabs it back across to Meta. Just looking backwards rather than forwards. And another throwing error from the Danes allows the French to pick up. It's going to be into space. Rodriguez underneath it. The tall figure grabs high. Danish hearts are being smashed to bits here by the French. They put themselves under an awful lot of pressure there by not catching the pull. And that pressure told with the turnover to France and a quick score via Rodriguez. And it is 11-8. Can the Danes find their way back into this game?
They definitely need to go and find themselves some bacon and get themselves sorted. They're struggling to just move the disc from player to player, and you're right, dropping that pull did not help them. But it looks like they've taken a timeout now, get themselves recoup, get some war on, and just sort themselves out a bit. The French must be quite happy with themselves after coming out of half. They've scored, I think it's for 5 in a row. And they're doing very well at coming back into this game and showing the class that we know they have.
I'd like to shout out our secure cyber communications are helping us with all the Wi-Fi and tech setup here at Windmill this weekend, allowing us to bring you this coverage via the information superhighways, as Al Gore would have it. Right now you're listening to Tom Stiles and David Price for Sky magazine, covering the Windmill tournament out here in Amsterdam, and we hope you are enjoying it wherever you are. Do send us a tweet. We like to know that you're watching. We've got a lot of people on the stream, so we know you're out there, but we've not had very many messages. So if you do send us a message, we're pretty much guaranteed to read it out, is what I'm saying. Hashtag Windmill 2016 if you want to send us a message on that. There's some fantastic pictures on there as well if you're following that hashtag. That old argument, hey? Barmer Sex getting involved with the one-on-one defense. Someone brought it to my attention that the word person is based on the word son, which isn't gender neutral.
Really?
Yeah. No, I think they might have been a bit pedantic.
Yeah, I think person is fine. One-on-one is okay.
Anyway, we are back in the game with the Danes making another error and turning the disc over again. The French machine gathering pace, gathering passes, gathering pitch space. Mondiaux with her own uncharacteristic handling the disc beyond the receiver, which was number 8, Jean de la Vallée. Had to go to the ground to even try and have a chance of getting that one, but didn't. The Danes with the disc again. Maja Milek, the Danish captain, on the far side of the pitch in the 31 shirt. Nice quick disc to Ellen. Oh, it's a beautiful break. Down to the 11 shirt of Helle Trinderup. Trinderup managing to reset. Pressure from the French, still maintaining pitch position. They're not letting the Danes have anything easily here. The Danes swinging a few more passes together than they have in previous points. Again, just stretching beyond the outstretched fingertips there. Not easy passes, not straight to the chest. A little bit high, that one, but she's still got it. Maja with the disc. Maja Milek down the line. That's nice flow. Have they got something to continue it? No, they do not. They're going to have to reset. They're going to have to bring back again. Again, the captain involved in every pass. And that was just straight into the ground. She's turfed it, unforced. And the pressure, maybe a little bit of tiredness towards the end of the point. She was doing an awful lot of work out there, David.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of tiredness and ooh, another pick in the stack there. A mixture of tiredness and, like we mentioned earlier, the French have really stepped up a little bit in the second half.
French moving it quickly and fluidly and so confidently. So nervous at the start of this game, but that's gone. The 22 shirt of Lucy Ruffy. Back across, nice fast disc to Jean de la Vallée. And French passing with confidence. Mondiaux not quite as involved as the anchor that she was at the start of this game. Still running a lot of the plays. Flows it into the end zone. It's caught nicely by Jean de la Vallée. The assist there was from Anne Le Bourg. And the French are, so far, in the second half, unbeatable.
Yeah, they're really starting to pull away there, and I think that last throw is indicative of this whole half. That throw was absolutely perfect. Like the deep, if she'd have bid, she would have got it, but she didn't. And the receiver was just in the end zone. So I think, to your point around Aline not doing as much this half, is because she just doesn't need to. The rest of her teammates are stepping up and fulfilling the role that she could be doing. So it's great performance in this half by the French. It's really starting to stifle the Danish play. The current score is 12-8 to the French. Game's here to 15. And now, currently the Danes have not scored in this half. So let's see if they can get one in now and get themselves rolling again.
It was, I don't know what they said at half time, whether they smoked some of the captain's pack or something, but they've stepped up the game incredibly in this second half, like a completely different French side. They were middling in the first half, and now they're seemingly unstoppable, and they're certainly doing a great deal to stop the Danes. Big disc was never likely to connect with anybody. French sweeping it out of the sky with Chessignon again. Nice quick passes up the sideline into the end zone. Pressure from the Danes, but it's not enough to stop Cécile Petou putting it in. And the French, what are they, 6? So they've scored 6 in a row, 6-0 in this second half. And Denmark looking like a team have lost their way.
Yeah, they're really running away with it now, the French. Just a very quick turn and a couple passes and the French have scored again, and they're really making it hard for the Danes to get back in this game at all, which is a bit of a shame considering how the Danes started, but let's hope they can get a couple on the board. And the Swiss format does help. If you can get close in the score line, obviously your points difference is better, and the games they played earlier will also come into that effect. So if they can get a couple more points, it probably won't affect their seed too much, but we'll see.
So if you've never used the Swiss draw or played in a tournament that uses a Swiss draw before, it's all about points difference. The opening game is deliberately seeded to be quite one-sided, but depending on how well you play, it might be more one-sided than some of the games around you. You then continue playing teams that have got a similar points difference to you, and your points difference adds up around the tour. There's also some minor points awarded for other things, which I've not quite got my head around yet. But anyway, it's all looking to find seedings as this disc goes up another turn. The French with the disc once more. The Danes desperate, trying to find a way forward, but not finding anything other than blue shirts and defensive hands. The 54 shirt for France. San Marco. Rodriguez bullied off that disc nicely by Helle Trinderup, who's had a great game for Denmark. It's been a good battle between the two of them. Tall, slender figures, the two of them. Denmark with their first turnover they've had in a while. Maya Milek swings the disc across the pitch, down the line. And now looking for deep options, which were there in abundance in this first half. Second half, not so much. That is a lovely disc. Just enough float ahead of Mondiaux. No chance for the French defender, but that is a poor choice down the line. And Rodriguez read it beautifully, saw the option was going down that line, knocked it out of the way ahead of Maya Milek, who was closing in. A little bit more of the Danish team that we saw in the first half, but still not enough to actually get a point on the board. French, once again, looking for a big shot deep. It's going to float high. There's going to be a lot of pressure underneath this. Milek, oh, but Rodriguez is so tall, so big, just reaches up, barely lifts her feet off the ground. Takes all the time she needs to find the next pass. She's going to run out of time soon, but she's put it into the end zone. And not a good choice. Denmark sweeping it up, getting the block. The young 48 player, Catherine Mignon. Minion. Her last name is Minion. Like in Despicable Me, I guess. Yeah. Getting the turn for Denmark, and now they start again. The team in red advancing to the line. Minion to Milek. Milek sending out a long disc. It's going to be chased down. Look at the pace on this Danish number 11. She manages to grab ahead. That was what's been missing for the Danish team. And floats it in. It's beautifully done. Ellen putting that disc into space. But all the work was done from Hella Trinderup and the big putt from Maya Milek. And I'm not sure we've seen the start of the resurgence of the Danish team, but we have seen them just put a point on the board in the second half, first point they've had.
Yeah, I've just received a tweet from a good friend, Dave Pitchler, back in the UK, saying that Denmark are making boatloads of individual errors that they didn't make in the first half. That's very true. And the French also have stepped up their D, especially around the end zone. And again, yeah, I totally agree with that. Rodriguez there demonstrating that they're a bit more savvy around what the Danes are looking for and then just taking it out. But all credit to the Danes there, taking on a lovely deep shot and a couple passes, and it was a goal. I believe the goal there was scored by number 13, Robin Anthony. But they're still 4 points down in this second half, 13-9 to the French national team. 2 more points and they've won the game.
I do wonder what was the half-time talk for the French team, because they've been a completely different side this second half. Yeah. Thanks, Barmasex, watching on Twitter and liking some of the commentary again. Nearly a throw just beyond the French player. Cessignon has it now, and she's managed to find out on this line. And nice quick 1-2. A little bit of barging there, but that's just trying to turn and accelerate away. Cessignon confidently takes it high, steadies the ship. Meta marking with the 7 shirt on her back. Alexa Cessignon passes out to Charlotte the Danaise. Darts, drops her shoulder. Sonia Riviera moving the disc out to Cessignon again. The French flowing quickly, barely a stall count getting higher than 1 or 2, and into just ahead of the end zone, not quite in yet. Looking for a reset, looking for a shot into the end zone. Beautifully done. Again, just losing the marker, quick feet. The Danes looking flat-footed and slow. And defence has been nothing like the intensity they brought in the first half, and the French are within 1 of taking this game away.
Yeah, they just weren't tight enough, the Danes there. Not able to take out any of the options the French wanted, and it looked very easy by the French offensive line. A very enjoyable game to watch, though. This game's gone back and forth between the two teams, a real time turner. And this will really help the French in their Swiss draw, having beaten GB women in their last round. A win here will help them. I think a win won't help GB though. If France win here and it's a big points difference, I'm pretty sure that goes against GB women's point score. But we'll see when the next round is announced.
Yeah, I think the teams you've beaten and the points total you beat the other teams by, then it becomes a factor. It adds up to some of the minor points that you get counted against your score. There's a big spreadsheet somewhere, and it all gets worked out in there. Maya Milek for Denmark, squeezing that one through a gap that she didn't realise was closing. And across to Trinderup. Trinderup finding space in the middle of the pitch. It's going to be high. It's going to be pressure underneath this from the French. And a half-hearted bid from the Danes. French got right underneath that, bossed it out the sky, lifted a little bit at the end. Robbie Jones has asked, are any British teams being streamed this weekend? Robbie, we don't actually know, because we don't get to find out which teams we're going to be streaming until an hour before. Because of the Swiss draw format, we don't know who's playing who. But what we would say is that we are filming all 3 finals, and we would hope that at least one Great Britain team was in one of those finals. Let's watch that space. France now with an opportunity to take this game away and put the Danes out of their misery. Got lucky a little bit, Mondio. Not taking any time to recover from that fumble as she launches it into the end zone. 3 jabs at it, and eventually it comes down in French hands, and that is the game. Well done, France. They win 15-9, having completely dominated Denmark in this second half. The first half was a completely different story, but the end of the game, it's a 6-point margin of victory for the French, and they march off into the sunset with into the fourth round with a very strong win.
Yeah, very commanding there in the second half. Although that last point was a bit like the Windmill circus. It was lots of juggling and a couple macks, but all credit to the French. They came out of half very, very hard and really taught the Danes how to play ultimate. And I think the Danes only scored 2 points in that second half. So congratulations to them. And I think we might see them again, potentially in the semis or quarters or maybe even a final.
Yeah, there's been lots of good play from in the women's division so far, and we'll catch that up later in the weekend. Our next game on Skyed is at 6:30 Central European time. It's 5:30 UK time, and I'm not sure whereabouts you are in the rest of the world, but 6:30 European time, and that will be from the men's division. To be myself and Ravi, because I think you're praying, aren't you, David? So congratulations to the French, and thank you for joining us. Do tweet us, #Windmill2016, and we'll catch you at the next live stream, 6:30 Central European time on Sky Magazine.